Happy New Year, geeks! Welcome to my channel. Today we're shopping at Trader Joe's. The holidays are over and we're in the new year, but there were still several new items that came in at the end of December, so let's go check them out and see what there is to buy this week. The disco planner is back just in time for the new year. This is so fun and festive to look at for $12.99. Kishu Kisses. These are seedless Kishu mandarins. They have just arrived and are new. A little quick backstory. Kishu is a province of southern Japan where this variety is originally from. These are very sweet and highly snackable. Once peeled, the sections inside have a soft and puffy texture and a nice balance of juiciness, sweetness, and acidity. You get a 1 pound bag for $4.99. You get a 1 pound bag for $4.99. Organic Fig and Honey Batard was new earlier this year and has returned. So from what I heard, some new items will initially arrive for a limited time. They disappear and then they come back a few months later or so, which is what seems to be happening here. I think that's how Trader Joe's gets us to stay interested, especially in the items that we like, and then they can probably gauge on their end how well a product sells. So it's a win-win. Anyway, I've heard only good reviews on this for $4.99. We will be reviewing the chocolate dipped Danish cookies at the end of the video, along with the Petit Four mousse cakes as well, so stay tuned for that. Uncured bacon wrapped porchetta pork roast has returned. This makes for a quick and easy fancy meal. Just pop this in the oven and pair it with some roasted potatoes and broccolini or green beans and you have yourself a fancy meal for $8.49 a pound. There's a new sliced uncured beef prosciutto. This is dry aged. So during the dry aging process, the beef loses most of its moisture and it reduces its total weight and concentrates a rich meaty flavor. So I have a feeling this one is going to be really tasty as a savory snack or on a charcuterie board, a sandwich, or served with arugula and shaved Parmesan, or even on top of pasta for $6.99. If you have ever wondered where the end pieces go for salami, here they are. Columbus peppered salami. These are flavored with pepper and 'tis the season for charcuterie boards. You can cut it up in thin slices so you really get a lot out of this for $5.99. East Coast got the grilled chili lime chicken breast earlier this year, and California finally got it in also. Add this to salad or tacos or a wrap. It's a quick and convenient option for $7.99. Spicy chicken nuggets are new. This is made with chicken breast with rib meat that has been breaded with wheat, rice, and corn flours, and then covered in a cayenne-based hot sauce with hints of garlic and vinegar, which makes the sauce savory and tangy. It was lightly fried to a golden brown and shaped into nuggets. Since they're fully cooked and refrigerated, they only need a few minutes in the air fryer, oven, or microwave before they're ready to go for $3.99. The truffle dip is one of my favorite holiday seasonal items, made with a blend of cream cheese, ricotta, and Parmesan cheese. I pick one up every year for $5.49. Moving to the freezer section, there's new crispy potato and poblano pepper tacos. This is made by a supplier in Mexico. This has a thin and crispy shell and filled with a mix of seasoned mashed potatoes and ever so slightly spicy poblano peppers. Eat this as an appetizer and pair with some sour cream, guacamole, cheese, salsa, or hot sauce. Or make a meal out of it and pair it with a side of Spanish rice, some beans, or the Southwestern chopped salad. There's also a new chicken mole. The traditional way to make mole includes chocolate, but Trader Joe's version doesn't include it. Instead, it's made with boneless, skinless chicken leg meat that's simmered in a red sauce, which is tomato-based, and made with dried guajillo and pasilla peppers, which darkens the color of the sauce and adds some spicy heat to it. The flavor is then further deepened with spices like garlic, onion, coriander, and cinnamon. After the chicken is cooked in the sauce, it's flash frozen, so all you have to do when you get the 16-ounce package at home is heat it in the microwave or on the stovetop. Pair this with some taco shells or tortillas with some cheese and add some enchilada sauce or Spanish rice and some guacamole. This is making me hungry for $6.99. There's a new organic Sri Lankan curry and rice. This is shelf stable. It's an all-in-one curry kit that contains a packet of heirloom variety wild rice, creamy coconut curry sauce seasoned with spices like cinnamon and cumin, and roasted cashews for added crunch and protein. This includes 3 separate packets with the rice, the curry, and the cashews. Heat the rice and curry packets together in a bowl in the microwave or saucepan for $3.99. There's a new sweet mustard dill sauce made by a Danish supplier. This recipe accentuates the subtle heat of mustard with a slight kick of cayenne, while seasoned vinegar and cane molasses adds a tangy sweetness to complement the aromatic herbiness of the dill. It adds a sweet, herbaceous, and delicately spicy note to whatever you want to add to it, from roasted veggies to meatballs, french fries, spring rolls, sandwiches, and hot dogs, or as a dip on a charcuterie board. This does contain canola oil, which is probably why it's $1.99. Coffee panna cotta has finally arrived in the refrigerated section at my store. I could never find this, you guys. So panna cotta means cooked cream in Italian. This, interestingly enough, was made in Texas by a Portuguese company specializing in desserts and includes cream, milk, sugar, and a generous amount of coffee powder. Reviews I've heard said it's mildly sweet, and that's mostly from the caramelized syrup that sits in the bottom of the cup, which reminds me you do have to turn it upside down so that the syrup can drizzle over it, and you can find this in the refrigerated section. Back to the freezer section, it looks like the chocolate chip hold the cones are back, but there's also new strawberry mini hold the cones. You get 8 mini sugar cones filled with strawberry ice cream topped with a chocolate coating. This is perfect for Valentine's Day being right around the corner. I heard this tastes just like a chocolate dipped strawberry, and also heard one review say that it's slightly tart and sweet, which actually makes me want to try it even more, for $3.99. Also, finally found the new reusable silicone food storage in half-gallon size. Half-gallon size bags are literally the perfect size because it's not too big and not too small, but it fits in a lot. I love the half-gallon Ziploc bags, which are hard to find, by the way, but Sam's Club carries them online. This bag is way more eco-friendly, though, for $5.99. There's also a new bath salt made with pink salt and relaxing lavender oil. This initially came out as a set with another item, but there was a recall on it, so they took out the bath salt and are now selling it separately for $4.99. Also, here's a sneak peek of the new items that will be arriving this week. Teensy candy bars for $2.99, medium green ripe pitted olives for $2.49, organic Concord grape jelly for $3.49, reusable bag with cheese on it for $3.99, organic fruit punch juice boxes for $3.99, and organic apple juice boxes for $3.99. That's it for shopping this week. Let's get into this week's Trader Joe's hauls. Got a lot of snacks and goodies in this haul, so this will be a fun one. Got a bag of cruciferous crunch for a quick salad. Shaved Brussels sprouts. This is just convenient to toss in the oven to save me some time. Another time saver, a quick salad option for lunch along with the roasted turkey and sweet potato burrito. I couldn't remember if I liked this or not, so I got this instead of the turkey gobbler. Some boxed pears, my favorite next to Asian pears, a bag of mandarins. I can never tell if it's going to be a good bag, so it's always a crapshoot. Some persimmons, a favorite fruit of mine. The holiday season is when I allow myself to buy more cheese than usual because there's so much to choose from. Going to try Le Rustique, which is a camembert, which I'll be trying for the first time this year. And one of my favorite cheeses, the Toscano cheese soaked in Chardonnay, I get once a year. Definitely got catfished by the caramel wash Gouda. It was good, but it pretty much tasted like regular Gouda with no hint of caramel flavor or sweetness, so that was a little disappointing. From Sam's Club, I was so excited to see the Kerrygold unsalted butter, which I never find, plus it was on sale. And then at Costco, I got pomegranates for $13, which has since gone on sale to now $10 a box. Also got some grapes, which are super crispy, and gold kiwis. This is another fruit I can never tell if it's going to be good or hard as a rock because that has happened before. Some grape tomatoes from another store. Costco was sampling these drinks, which I've been eyeing since the summer, and my friend who I was with grabbed a box and shared some with me, and these are surprisingly good. They have the added flavor in it, but it is sweetened with erythritol. My favorite sparkling drink from Trader Joe's, something spritzy. This has a bitterness to it that most people probably won't like, but I love it, and I dress it up by adding some fresh pomegranate seeds on top, and it's such a festive, delicious mocktail. Highly recommend this combination. I'm not a huge quiche fan, but I sampled the mini quiche from Sam's Club last year, and I love these little bites. The ratio of filling to crust is perfect on these bites, so I'm glad Trader Joe's has their version because I don't need 48 bites. So let's take a closer look at them. It comes with 2 flavors, Swiss and mushroom, which was delicious and my favorite. It was cheesy and creamy and buttery from the crust. This one was really good. I just wish they sold a box of this flavor. And then the other flavor is uncured bacon and sweet onion, which has a smoky flavor to it because of the bacon. But interestingly enough, I couldn't really taste the actual bacon. I just got the smokiness from it. And I decided to get seasoned corn ribs for Thanksgiving this year instead of canned corn or frozen corn. Heard great reviews on the frozen mashed potatoes, so I got some for Thanksgiving. More thoughts on this later. And then I had to try the new freeze-dried mangosteen, so let's take a closer look. They look like little dried up lychee and tasted very sweet and almost like astronaut food. This was just okay and my least favorite of the freeze-dried fruits that they carry, so I'll probably not repurchase this one. I got some cheddar jalapeno pull-apart bread. And now for the new fun snacks. I heard such good reviews, so I was really excited to try the French onion popcorn. Let's take a closer look. This was very onion forward. I mean, to the point where I still had an aftertaste of onion for hours in my mouth. It also has a sharp, cheesy flavor to it, which is what makes it also taste very salty. And it had a powdery finish. It was almost borderline stuffing flavor without the herbs. Overall, I thought it was okay, and I ended up mixing some of this with the maple kettle corn for a sweet and savory mix. But overall, this wasn't my favorite favorite, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I had to pick up the stuffing popcorn because so many of you said it tasted better this year, so I wanted to give it another try. Also had to try the new blue cheese chips because I do enjoy blue cheese, but I rarely get it unless it's already mixed into something like a salad. Also had to try the new shishito crisps. I love grilled shishitos, which I've shown a few times on my channel. So let's take a closer look. These surprisingly weren't my favorite. I'm big on texture and I was hoping this would be crunchy, but this was more on the airy and flaky side. And I felt like I was eating paper that ended up dissolving in like a powdery finish. The flavor was really great though, and I love that it wasn't overly salty. Maple kettle corn, had to get another bag before it's gone for the season. Maple spice nut mix, my favorite nut mix to date at Trader Joe's. This is so good just on its own or as an oatmeal topper or on top of yogurt. Bourbon vanilla beans. I don't know what I'm actually going to use this for, but I didn't want to miss my opportunity to get it. Cranberry butter cookies. I wanted to try this since last year and it has been on my mind. And here's a closer look. These did not taste like I thought it was going to. It was slightly dense and not all that buttery. I guess I was expecting more of a shortbread cookie, but it tasted exactly like the Danish cookies that come in a blue tin during the holidays. And even though there were cranberries in it, I could barely taste them, which was odd. And they tasted kind of stale, which I frequently run across some of the Trader Joe's items that are stored in the freezer section. I think it might be due to the paper packaging, which doesn't have that strong super seal to it. Overall, these were just okay. I haven't had a desire to go back and reach for another one, which is saying a lot because I love plain, basic, simple cookies. Taste of caramels. I've gotten this before, and last year I think they updated their flavors and I could use some holiday cheer this year, so I will be enjoying this during the holidays. Biscoff cookie sandwiches at another store. I've been curious about this since I saw this on Instagram a few months ago and it was on sale, so I decided to get it. Cranberry sauce. I usually buy the jarred cranberry sauce that Trader Joe's has, but I decided to try the fresh one this year and it didn't disappoint. It had the right amount of chunkiness and it wasn't overly liquidy at all. From Sam's Club, I got some turkey lunch meat. I was thinking post-Thanksgiving I could make Thanksgiving sandwiches, and I got a small turkey breast this year, so I know there won't be leftovers. Had to go back to Trader Joe's because I totally forgot I didn't have any gravy or green beans for the green bean casserole, and I was in such a hurry I forgot to get the crispy fried onions while I was there, so I picked this up from Ralph's and also got the cornbread stuffing for convenience this year, and then of course the condensed cream of portobello mushrooms, one of my all-time favorite Trader Joe's products ever, and then some mushrooms from a local store to add to the green bean casserole. Also, I was able to get the new stand-up collapsible bag. This is exciting because this is the first time I was able to get a bag that wasn't sold out. I asked the cashier when I was checking out about the reusable gift bags that are 79 cents, and they were sold out, so I couldn't get them, but I got this one. Anyway, if you guys are looking around the store for this like I was, you won't find them because they're not out on display. They hold the bags back by the customer service desk, so if you want one, you have to ask for it, and my store had a limit of 1 bag per customer. So that's it for shopping, and I just wanted to share with you how my Thanksgiving dinner turned out. Everything was from Trader Joe's except for the turkey. I am a traditionalist, so I have to have turkey on Thanksgiving, which I top with the gluten-free Trader Joe's gravy, which was, by the way, 10 out of 10. This was the best gravy I've had in a very long time. It had a homemade rustic feel to it and was nice and thick and so flavorful. It was night and day with the gravy that comes in jars or boxes. The frozen mashed potatoes were a miss for me. They tasted slightly sweet and it just wasn't all that great. Honestly, I was surprised and disappointed at the same time. Corn ribs this year instead of regular corn this year. Roasted Brussels sprouts with roasted carrots and roasted butternut squash. And I totally forgot to plate the green bean casserole. Cranberry sauce is a must-have, and I really enjoyed this. The cornbread stuffing, which I thought was decent, but on the salty side for sure. And then I was debating whether to get dinner rolls, but went with the olive fougasse. And then for my drink, I had something spritzy with pomegranates added on top. You guys have to try this combination. It's so refreshing and such a festive drink. And then for dessert, we got the best pumpkin pie from Porto's Bakery, which is a popular bakery here in Southern California, and also a little fruit tart and some other goodies, which I forgot to film. But I also had the apple crumble pie from Trader Joe's, which is another favorite of mine, and the frozen Italian tiramisu. And my next haul also has a lot of holiday goodies in it, starting with the half-eaten almond ring Danish. I have always overlooked this and not given it a second thought, but my friend said it's really good, and wow, I'm so glad I tried it because I almost think it's better than the almond kringle, and here's why. It's far less sweet because it doesn't have any icing on top, and then there's several layers of the Danish that's filled with a little almond paste filling of some sort. So if you want the almond kringle when it's not in season, this is the next best thing, if not better. It's so good, and it just has the perfect amount amount of sweetness and the perfect amount of almond flavors, and it doesn't really taste like a full-on Danish, but more like a dense croissant. I warmed it up in the oven for just a minute or two, and it's perfection. I will definitely repurchase this. Also got the chocolate peppermint loaf to make cookies with this year. Last year, I tried making the loaf, which was good, but this year I thought maybe the cookies might be better. So here's what it looks like before I baked it. I didn't have any powdered sugars, so I just made it like this. I now know why these are called crackle cookies, because for the first batch, I used cookie cutters, and the cookies came out so crispy to the point where it could have been a cracker. And then for the second half, I used an ice cream scooper to make them less flat and more bulbous to hopefully retain more of the moisture, but it was still on the crispy side. Now that I tried both ways, I think making the loaf is the recommended method for me. Had to try the new Phyllo Crisp because a friend of mine said that she loved it, and I'm so glad I ended up getting it. This definitely is cranberry forward and has a slight glaze on top of the puff pastry, so it's definitely a sweet cracker, and then you get hints of a little bit of saltiness from the toasted pumpkin seeds. It's delicious on its own, but this one was really good paired with brie, which is how I had it. I grabbed one more bag of the Thanksgiving chips this year. I think 2 bags a year is my limit now. After that 1 year, I binge purchased it and had it throughout the year, which was just too much. Got another bag of the blue cheese chips, and surprisingly, this bag wasn't as potent in blue cheese flavor as the first bag, and I liked it even better. The first bag, it was so tangy that it was almost distracting. This has a sturdiness of a kettle chip though, and it's the perfect chip to have with a sandwich because it has just the right amount of flavor. I was debating whether to get the mini quiche again, but instead had to try the new mini mushroom tartlets just in case they disappeared before I got to try it. My favorite something spritzy drink. As long as I see it at the store, I'll continue to pick up a can or two before they run out. For balsamic lovers, this is a must. I repeat, this is a must. This is a seasonal item, but hopefully your store will still carry it after the new year. This is a super thick vinegar. This tastes exactly like balsamic glaze, and it's sweet, but it's thinner in consistency. I tried this last year and really enjoyed the mushroom flavor and the lightness of it, and I just wanted a convenient meal option to have. Speaking of convenience, another YouTuber used to rave about this potato salad, so it's been on my list, and I thought this would be a quick side dish for a meal, or even to add to a charcuterie board for something different. I like this because it also had some eggs in it, so I actually just put some on a cracker and enjoyed it that way. And it wasn't as creamy or heavy with mayonnaise as other potato salads, and I could really taste the potatoes. It was on the tangy side, but I like the freshness from the green onions in it. I would repurchase this again. Got some carrots to have as a snack. Trying the Caesar broccoli bake. This was another new item that came out earlier this year. I thought this would make another quick, convenient side dish for the holidays. Got a salad kit to have with some chicken. And probably what I'm most excited about in this haul is the French apple tart. You guys, I've been eyeing this for years, but never got it because I had to pick and choose which pie to get since I can only get so much pie. And I went with the apple crumble pie 2 years in a row, which is excellent, by the way, but very, very sweet. This apple tart was even better than the apple crumble pie because it's simple and straightforward and also far less sweet. I warmed it up and the apples did puff up a little bit, so it almost tasted like dried puffy apples, which I didn't mind, but I know it might throw some people off. This was a complete hit, which is why Ina Garten endorsed it on the Today Show, which of course I watched, and I can see why because it's that good. I love the look of it, the taste of it. I could taste the vanilla, but I couldn't taste the apricot flavor that much. The crust was also a complete hit with how buttery the shortbread crust was, so I highly recommend warming it up so that the crust gets a little crisp to it. And another quick convenient meal option, trying the grilled pesto chicken wrap. There was zucchini in it, which was a nice surprise. I wanted to try the new lemon stuffed olives because I've heard good reviews, so let's take a look. The combination of the citrus and bitterness of the olive paired well together, but at the same time, it almost muted each other out. These basically tasted like any other green olive, although some olives did have a stronger lemon flavor than others, and it did have a lingering lemon aftertaste. I did enjoy them, and I would repurchase them, but it's nothing that you just have to run out to the store and get. Had to try the new gingerbread oat creamer this year, and I'm so glad I did because the flavor was spot on. They completely nailed it. The spices were perfect and tasted just like a gingerbread cookie. I splashed this over my oatmeal and it was delicious. If they bring this back next year, I highly recommend trying it. I got a box of this tea before and I vaguely remember it being calming and helping me wind down for the night, so I got another box. Another new item to try, the blueberries and cream yogurt. They came out with new packaging for this line of yogurts again this year, so they're kinda new even though they have already been around. These are dangerous though because it tastes more like a dessert and tastes like a custard. It's so good and creamy, almost like ice cream flavor but in yogurt form. The protein is low at 4 grams compared to Greek yogurts, which have about 11 grams, and the sugar is super high on this, so it's definitely more of a sweet treat. Speaking of dessert, Petit Four mousse cakes. Thought this would be a good option to put out for friends since it's easy for everyone to grab a piece. Here I was starting to build my charcuterie board. Most of my friends aren't that big on sweets, so the size was perfect. All of the previous reviews I've heard on these saying they were sweet were an understatement. They are extremely sweet, and that's mostly due to the outer layer of icing, which takes it over the top. But I was able to tolerate the sweetness because it's only 2 bites and you're done, so I did enjoy them. The dark chocolate cake was delicious, but again, the sweetness kind of takes over. The coffee flavored chocolate cake was pretty good. It had a decent coffee flavor, which I could definitely taste and appreciated, but it was probably my least favorite of the 3. I ended up scraping off the top layer of mousse on all the cakes and enjoyed it a lot more that way because the sweetness really takes over from the flavor of the actual cake. And even after doing that, it was still very sweet, but more enjoyable. The vanilla cake was the sweetest out of the 3. It was giving wedding cake vibes to me. It was delicious, but unless it was for a group gathering, I personally wouldn't buy this again for myself. Saw that they still had the maple sea salt kettle corn, and I thought it was my sign to buy it one last time. My popcorn craving always goes up during the holidays, so I grabbed a bag of the olive oil popcorn. Got the maple streusel bread. I like to throw this in the pan with a little bit of butter and have a grilled toast with it. Some bagels, and I was going back and forth on whether to try these new gingerbread cookies because I don't like a heavily spiced ginger flavor, but I'm so glad I got them. The box comes with 2 sheet cookies, which are individually wrapped, and maybe one of the biggest appeal to it because it's just one giant cookie, which you can eat the whole thing, which I was really tempted to do, or you can break it apart or cut it up into little squares, which is what I plan to do with the next sheet of cookie, so I can ration it out. Of course, these are gone now, so I really hope they bring it back again next year because it didn't get a lot of buzz, which I'm actually shocked more people didn't rave about this because it was so good. I think a lot of people were expecting it to be a softer cookie, so maybe that's why. But the spice level was mild to me, so it was perfect and just had a warm, toasty gingerbread flavor. The icing on top gave it a nice little crunch when you bit into it, but it was very sweet, so that's my only complaint with it. But then if you take that away, you don't get that snowy look to the cookie. I just wish the glaze was thinner, but that's really splitting hairs at this point. These were a 10 out of 10, and I wish I tried it sooner because I definitely would have grabbed another box. Also got the chocolate dipped Danish cookies, which as you can see I already got into. These are one of my top favorite bakery items, but this year they changed one of the cookies, which I was bummed about, and we will get into that in a second. They kept the macaroon one, which has a thin dark chocolate covering on the base of it. This wasn't overly coconutty at all, and it's not as dense as a regular coconut macaroon. It's soft and almost cake-like, and if you take a look really closely, you can almost see sponge-like cake bits in it. It's so good. They also kept the almond triangle. This one is my favorite out of the 3 this year. It also has a thin layer of dark chocolate at the bottom, and then the toasted almond slices on top. The inside is very soft and moist and tasted like marzipan, and this one is the new one this year. It's super cute and looks impressive with this chocolate dome shape on top, and it has little freeze-dried raspberry bits, which is more for the look than flavor. So the top part is filled with a light and airy dark chocolate mousse, which sits on top of an almond cookie that was dry and crumbly. The flavor of the cookie was amazing and tasted like marzipan through and through. The dark chocolate mousse was just overload though, and it just took away from the delicate flavor of the almond cookie. This would have been great separately, but together it was just an odd pairing that didn't work. And real quick, I just wanted to show you last year's version. Here's the cookie that was replaced. I really wish they kept this because it was so much better. There was a lot of cookie to it, and it had a thin coating of dark chocolate on the bottom, which was the perfect amount. It was in this fun shape, which gave a good amount of cookie to the filling, which was the soft marzipan filling, and my favorite cookie of the 3 last year. Wasn't sure if I'd find turkey again, so I got a chicken just in case to roast up or to make soup with, but I ended up roasting it with some Trader Joe's seasonings. I was shocked to find the pumpkin samosas still around because the last time I went, they were already gone, and then my store had some left, so I immediately grabbed a box. Another item I was hemming and hawing over, which I don't know why since they have the regular dark chocolate covered marshmallows all year round, but the packaging got me, and I like that there's only 8 pieces in it, so it's not a huge commitment. It comes with 8 pieces in this tray and came with a decent amount of crushed peppermint pieces on top. I was afraid the marshmallow might be a little bit hard, but that wasn't the case at all. They were really soft, and it had a thin layer of dark chocolate, which provided a nice snap and texture contrast, and then you get the holiday vibes from the peppermint. I thought these were a total hit. Moving on to the next seasonal hit, the English toffee bites are so good. I'm so glad they finally came out with these smaller bags. Also so glad they came out with the individual bags of the Jingle Jangle or Jingly Jangly. I stopped getting the large tin for the same reason because it would just take me over half a year to finish, which by that point it becomes stale and then I end up tossing it. First time trying the sourdough bread at Trader Joe's, it felt nice and soft, but I didn't like how it toasted up, so I probably wouldn't get this one again. What I will get again though is this sliced seedy multigrain bread, which I got one time before. This tasted like my sprouted bread that I usually buy from another store, although the ingredients aren't as good as my sprouted bread, but this is delicious when toasted up. It's nice and firm but slightly chewy. Another item I was going back and forth about was the English toffee ice cream. There were mixed reviews on this. Some people said it was the best flavor, and then others have said it tasted too artificial. For me, it tasted like a bootleg version of butter pecan. It wasn't buttery enough, and I wish the toffee bits were crunchy, but they were soft and not enough of them. Also, it wasn't super creamy and almost tasted grainy and powdery. For the amount of calories, fat, and sugar it has, I was expecting a creamy, decadent ice cream, but it just wasn't worth it, you guys. I would pass on this. And finally, these seasonal winter stickers. They're so cute and always free at the register. Before you go, I wanted to share a few more goodies. Not sure if you guys have seen the viral flattened croissant. I saw this all over my feed last year and then found one at a bakery, so I had to try it. This was really fun to eat. The texture was nice and crispy. Surprisingly, it wasn't buttery, which was disappointing, and it was a little too sweet for me, but overall, it was really fun to eat and try. Also picked up more treats from Porto's Bakery. We picked up the seasonal hazelnut eclair and a Napoleon, which is a puff pastry filled with vanilla custard. Also got a cinnamon roll. I normally am not big on cinnamon buns or rolls, but this one was made with like a very thick, dense croissant base topped with cream cheese filling and pecan bits on top, which was so delicious. And then we got a seasonal item that had these candied fruit peels on top. It's a mini version of a bigger bread cake. It's a mini Roscoe de Reyes, which I forget what this is used to celebrate for, but it comes with a little baby on it. If any of you know what this is, please let us know. Picked up a coconut strudel and 2 cheese rolls. And then I went to a restaurant with some girlfriends, and then I got this creme brulee coffee, and then my friend got a matcha coconut juice drink, and it was so delicious. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give this a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and until the next video, ciao guys!